Joined. Shout out to Shannon Sharp. And Roy Wood, he kind of made a joke about the Woods family. He found out who the White T family was, who enslaved his family. And he was kind of half joking. He was like, yeah, I found out where they lived. I looked on Zillow to find out where they lived. I almost pulled up on their house. So he was kind of joking. But boy, the white T supremacists took that real seriously. And boy, they were mad at that. I guess they have a lot of insecurities about black people getting revenge or whatever, but they were saying a lot of stuff like, well, why should that family be responsible for something they didn't do? It was a lot of that talk. Why is the family now being held responsible for something they had nothing to do with? And again, he's a comic. He's a comedian. But they were also saying something else very interesting. The white T supremacists were talking about, well, if it weren't for slavery, black people would be stuck in Africa. So they need to thank us. There was a lot of that stuff. And that narrative pops up a lot. Y'all notice that? I want to tackle that for a minute. These people almost act like they did us a favor with slavery. If you let them keep talking, they'll tell us, well, listen, you see how Africa is now? I mean, God, slavery was kind of a good thing. If it weren't for that, you'd be over there in the Congo somewhere, hungry. And again, we are fully aware that there were black people already on this land who mixed in with the black people who were brought over, but that's neither here nor there. Understand something. Slavery was not a favor. It was a crime against humanity. Slavery was not a charitable act that gave black people access to opportunity. It was a violent, genocidal system that involved kidnapping, torture, forced labor, sexual assault, destruction of families. So we survived in spite of that. They're not going to act like they're doing us a favor. No, we survived and thrived in spite of that. That's what makes us so amazing. That's what makes us so amazing. Everybody, please share the space. We need you to share this space, ladies and gentlemen. And like I said, black people, we were already in the Americas before Columbus. People hate that little fact and they know it's true. Historic evidence shows that we were here way before 1492, both as indigenous people and through pre-Columbian contact with seafarers from different parts of the world that were black. All right, and some of these people, they were integrated into the Native American tribes and civilizations. All right. And going back in history, let's be real. Africa wasn't always down bad the way it is now. Africa is an old continent. It's the oldest continent. And that was home for a long time to many powerful and advanced civilizations. There were some great things going on over there. Nobody know what the trajectory of the civilization over there would have been if it were not for the white T supremacists going around conquering the entire planet and colonizing the world to a certain degree. You know, some of these societies had universities, libraries, advanced agriculture, metallurgy, trade routes, architecture, complex governments. So there were a lot of things going on that was progressive throughout the centuries over there. Everything wasn't the same as it is now. You see. And we were targeted because of our value. You know, they needed us because they were helpless. You know? The white T supremacists didn't really know how to get things popping like that. So they said, okay, we'll get somebody else to do it at gunpoint. Yeah. But I think that I've been on for a little while. I've been on for like 5 minutes. I ain't been on that long. Family, I think the white tea supremacists, they've thwarted progress. I think we would be way more advanced if it weren't for the white tea supremacists blocking stuff. I think we would actually be more advanced because they got this thing where anytime you innovate something, we innovate something, they have to get it, bastardize it, weaponize it, turn it into something else. So I think we would have more technological advancements if it were not for the white tea supremacists sabotaging so many things. You know? And let's be clear, foundational Black Americans, we created the wealth for others. After surviving slavery, we built the South's economy through forced labor, and we got excluded from the wealth we created. This is what we're fighting for now. But we built the railroad systems. We were the foundation of Wall Street. All the insurance firms profited off slavery. So we weren't elevated by slavery. We elevated the empire who had us in bondage. Yeah. And many white families, they got their wealth and their land from enslaving us. See, that white family Roy Wood Jr. was talking about, that references the generational wealth built off the free labor. And the system of slavery gave the white tea people land, housing, capital, intergenerational inheritances. So yeah, they got to be grateful. They didn't do us no favor. We did them the favor. Yeah? See, that narrative is weaponized to kind of discourage Black people from demanding justice, repair, and restitution. Telling us to just be thankful we ain't in Africa. That ain't it. No. We ain't doing that. Did y'all hear the broadcast I did the other day talking about that narrative that they're trying to push, that New York was built by immigrants and all that stuff? And I debunked the hell out of that the other day. Y'all check that out. That's a very good broadcast. A lot of people like that broadcast where I broke down the Black presence in New York. Family, do y'all, man, we were in New York, Black people, from the very beginning, literally the early 1600s. When the Dutch was there, we were there. We were the ones clearing the land, clearing the brush. This is why, again, and I talked about this the other day with New York, notice all of these burial grounds they keep unearthing up in New York, all over New York City. They always unearth some Black burial ground up there. Y'all notice that? Down there by where the World Trade, remember when the World Trade Center went down? Hell, they found a damn slave ship under there. It was a smaller ship that would go back and forth from New York to the Caribbean. It wasn't a transatlantic where they would go over to Africa. It was a smaller ship, but it was a ship that would bring rum and enslave people back and forth from here in the Caribbean. They found that under the World Trade Center. Remember that? And also that burial ground. They got a memorial down there in Lower Manhattan now. They call it the African, what do they call it? The African Burial Center, something like that. There's a whole bunch of those all over New York. Y'all know that? There's one in Brooklyn. Well, a couple of them in Brooklyn. There's one over there, an old burial ground, Hunts Point, over there in the Bronx. There's one in Harlem on 126th Street. Y'all look that up. I don't know what the cross street is, but I know there's an old burial ground in Harlem. Y'all, where my Harlem people? Where my Harlem people? It's off 126th Street in Harlem. I can't think of what the cross street is. I think it's a church there now. But yeah, it was a burial ground for Negroes going back to the damn 1600s. You know what I'm saying? The bus depot, right. The bus depot in Harlem, right? Ain't in there like a bus depot, something like that? Or something like that. But yeah, man, they keep digging up old remains of us in New York, going back to the damn 1600s. How many of us were in New York? Because when they do these findings, it's like thousands of remains of us. So how many of us were up in New York in the 1600s? Because they've been doing a lot of undercounting on some of those census records. It seemed like it was a lot more when they dig up all of these damn burial sites. So that means some of those so-called natives were buried in those Negro cemeteries and all of that too. You understand? And that has happened a couple of times when they went to some burial grounds to dig up and do some excavations on. I think this was in Virginia. It was one of these places where I think in Virginia and in the Caribbean, I think. But it was one place they dug up an Indian burial ground and then they did some DNA testing on it. And these were damn Negroes. And they said they didn't say nothing else about it. They found out that these, quote, Indians were Negroid. You know? It's heavy. It's heavy. What you say? That's what they tried to tell you, but I made jokes about it. What you talking about? Hold on. Hold on. Who is that? Who said that? Yeah, you need to hop on in here. Hold on. Hop your ass on in here. Nick, what's your nice, whatever your name is. Okay, yeah, you got one of these accounts where you can't even get on. See, don't say nothing when you can't stand on it. All right, don't say that. I would like you to get on. What the hell are you talking about? Was it 126th Street and 2nd Avenue? Okay, there it is. There it is. Okay. 126th and 2nd Avenue. Okay, yeah. No, you better get on and say that. Don't just be saying stuff under no Finster account. Because we've been saying this, dude. We've been talking about the black presence here pre-Columbus. We've been talking about that. So don't play that game. Y'all share the space. We need to get a couple of thousand people in here. Y'all share the space. Share the space. Yeah, I wanted that person to get on. But, you know, some people just be saying shit just to be contrary. Just to be contrary for attention. But the reality is they didn't do us no favor. The favor was done to the white tea supremacists. Listen, if it were not for black people building up the wealth of this nation, the white tea supremacists, they would be stuck in Europe struggling. That's the reality. Understand, Europe was in a state of crisis when colonization began. When they started coming to the Americas, Europe was dealing with plagues, famines, religious wars, economic stagnation. So that age of that exploration age, that wasn't driven just by curiosity. That was an attempt to escape poverty and resource scarcity. They didn't have anything, so they had nothing to lose by getting on a boat and just sailing to no man's land. They didn't. What do they have to lose? After after the fall of the Moors, they got the Moorish ships and the Moorish maps. And they said, okay, let's go somewhere. Let's go get some spices and sugar and fruit. There ain't nothing to eat here. Yeah. So yeah, they were down bad. They didn't really have anything popping over there. And let's be real, we got to understand the entire Western economy was built on black labor. From the sugar plantations, all of that stuff over here in the Western Hemisphere, cotton fields in the South, tobacco and rice economies, that black enslaved labor, that built the backbone of global trade. And without that free labor, there would be no European economic dominance, no Wall Street, no Western empire as we know it. We got to really understand how important slavery was. They downplay it now. Slavery was extremely important to Western society. We did them a favor. Let's understand, just cotton by itself, because we had other stuff, indigo, rice, tobacco, everything, but just cotton alone, that made America and Britain rich. Remember, 1800s, cotton was the most valuable export here. It was produced and refined and cultivated entirely by foundational black Americans. These British textile mills, they depended on American slave-grown cotton. Without black labor, both America and Britain would have economically collapsed. You understand? And then that slave labor that funded all of the banking, the insurance companies, and Wall Street. All these major banks like J.P. Morgan Chase, Bank of America, Wachovia, these insurance companies like Aetna, they were insuring us first. They were insuring enslaved people, enslaved ships, and financing the slave operations. Like I said the other day, Wall Street was a slave auction site. It was literally a slave auction site. We were the first stocks and bonds. So the wealth of white families and white institutions grew directly from black bodies being treated as collateral. We're not going to let these people downplay that, making it seem like slavery was just like some little side thing. It wasn't. It was the main thing. It was the number one thing in town. It was the main event. Yeah. Slavery was America's first big tech boom. Slavery was the original industrial revolution in the Americas. Who is this? Who is Kalea? Who is this lady?
What do you mean, who is this lady?
Okay. What's up, Kalea?
What's up, Tariq?
How can I help you, dear?
Well, geez, this picture's like staring into my soul. Oh my gosh, I'm kind of nervous.
How old are you, young lady?
20.
Okay. What's on your mind? And why you got the moon face? What's going on?
Not much, you know. We just here for real. What's on your mind? Why you got a green screen?
I'm just chilling. Are you in New York?
No, I'm in Florida.
Okay. See, I hear a little accent. Are you Caribbean?
No.
You're not? Your family's not Caribbean? That's not a Jamaican or Haitian accent I hear?
Mm-mm.
Where's your family from, dear?
Florida.
Okay. Ma'am, you just ate some jerk chicken earlier. You're Caribbean, young lady.
Jerk chicken sound good right now. But you know what else sound good? Oxtails. I ain't had oxtails in a minute.
All right, ma'am. I'm going to go ahead and let you listen to some Shabba Ranks or something, dear. All right, Kalia. Thank you, dear. Okay. She's Caribbean. I can hear your damn accent. Y'all don't know we can hear your accent? Y'all be trying to deny your accent. We can hear your accent, so come on now. We can hear you. All right. She probably didn't want to come on because her wig was probably crooked. It's all right. Bless her heart. Like I said, man, America would not have been a superpower without slavery at all. The European royalty, they profited from slavery. The British, Spanish, French, Portuguese monarchs, they were granted charters and they collected taxes from slave voyages. The European crowns, they grew extremely wealthy by getting profits from the slave-based economies. They would have collapsed too if it weren't for the free slave labor. And black labor created the conditions for white privilege. The white tees, the premises out here in America, they didn't just benefit from slavery, they were elevated above it. They were granted land, legal rights, societal access at the expense of black bodies, because in order to justify dehumanizing people, they had to create a concept of white supremacy, you see, which still lives on today.
Assalamu alaikum.
Okay, who is this, ma'am? Hop on. I can't see you. I hope this ain't the same Syrian woman. Hold on. Her and this damn baby. Is that her? I can't see you, ma'am. There's something going on with your camera. I can't see you. Okay, how many kids are these over here? Okay, is that I'm trying to see if that's the same woman. I can't see you, ma'am. Okay, yeah, I can't see you, ma'am. Yeah, your phone is janky. The kids over there, fussy. All right, there's a lot going on. Okay, now we getting these Middle Eastern people calling up. Oh, Lord. Here they go. Y'all come on in the room and y'all share the space. Everybody hit those hearts. Let's get these hearts up. We're at 57,000 hearts. Let's get 100,000 hearts. Let's get 100,000 hearts up. What's up, Amara? What's up, dear? Let's get 100,000 hearts up, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get that thing popping. We can get that. All right, let me get some more folks in the room. Let me talk to you. Let me see what's on the family's mind. Who is user? And I'm gonna need y'all to hop on that camera too. Yeah, New York traveler.
Hello, how are you? Yes, I'm a Black American from New York, and I've been hearing a lot about you. So I see you. I'm surprised. So I'm not really knowledgeable of what's going on. So I'm
Okay.
just here to learn.
Okay. Cool. Have you learned something so far?
Yeah, I've been looking at different lives like Wani and Wolfie and like different and Leo. I've been looking at different lives about FBA and how we indigenous to this land and all that kind of stuff, which I never heard. I always thought that we came from like African trade slave or whatever. So I've been learning a lot. So I'm just like searching now.
Yes,
So
sir.
I'm so shocked to see you here because
Oh
I
yeah.
hear about you all the time, but I never saw you on a live.
Oh yeah. I'm here. I'm here, young lady. I'm here doing it. So we're here. Let's get user somebody. What's up, user?
Hello, Mr. Nasheed. How are you, brother?
I'm good. Hop on camera, please.
I cannot right now. I just want to make it quick.
Hold on. No,
You,
no,
you,
no,
you
no,
have
no,
to
no,
admit,
no, no, no.
Indians helped you with the spices with FBA culture. You guys have chicken curry. It's similar to Indian, huh?
So y'all help with the spices.
Absolutely. We give you spices and oil, things like that. Indians have helped you very, very much.
Okay, yeah. Well, none of our stuff tastes like Indian food though. So how does that
Oh,
work?
come on. You taste chicken curry, chicken biryani, very similar to FBA food, huh?
Not in any sense of the word. No.
Maybe you haven't had proper Indian food, huh?
Yeah, I see the goop scoops that y'all be having over there. It's just
Goop
pots of
scoops?
right. It's
Brother, we
yeah.
help you
We
with the
don't. We
spice.
don't. None of our stuff look like goop scoops with all that green shit that y'all be having over there. We don't. We don't have none of that. Thank you, sir. Who is this sister here? Unmute your microphone, dear Miss Queen. Unmute your mic. I can't hear you. There you go. Let me.
I didn't know that I was muted that whole time. So yeah, I just wanted to add to the slavery conversation. When I looked up my family's ancestral lineage through the paperwork that goes back, on my father's side, it goes back to about the 1600s or something like that. But when I went through the paperwork, I then found out that my great-great-grandfather was considered a Negro slave owner in Baltimore, and his slave was a Irishman. Crazy, right? So I went back even further, and he's then listed as mulatto in the census when I think it was like the 1840 census. Then if you go back one more time before that, they're considered Indian, right? So my family members look like everybody else too. I know I look a little bit whatever, but like my family members look like, everybody else. It was nothing different about them, but they're listed as Indian, then mulatto, then Negro slave owners. You can actually look my grandfather up on Google. His name was James Presco, Presco. It's in Baltimore on the free Negro slave owner list or whatever. He's like the third person, whatever, in Baltimore.
Okay.
But that was just what I wanted to add to it. And then if you look at like the documentation and stuff like that, he bought that white man from Ireland.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Because
so we brought people
what year
over
was
here
this?
too.
What year was this? Because they had laws at a certain time where black people.
Hold on. Is my phone?
Uh-oh.
Hold on. No, I can go. Let me see if I can get my computer because I can tell you the exact census this was on.
Okay.
Let me see. My phone might get dark. I'm about to go to my daughter's room and get her tablet.
Okay, because they wouldn't allow at a certain point, they wouldn't allow black people to own white people.
They owned white people, and I believe it was 1860. The free Negro slave owners, was it 1815 or 1860? Hold on for 1 second. I'm about to Google it while we're on here. Hold on for 1 second.
Yeah. All right. Someone said Muhammad Ali's daughter. No, she's not. All right. Yeah, I'm trying to see how that worked because they had, like in Virginia and places like that, they had strict laws against black people owning white people. They had real